Welcome guys back to Good Enough Garage. I'm Wesley and today I'm here back again in the warmer weather for a bike review. Today we're going to be reviewing a 2020 Harley Davidson Road Glide. I really love this color. I will put the color up right here. I hadn't looked at it, the official name, but this bike is beautiful. This is my dad's. I really love the gray here with the burnt orange look. It really pops in the sun. Now, I reviewed my mom's Street Glide. This one, I believe the difference is this has a fixed fairing, whereas the Road Glide has a like swivel fairing. It's connected to the forks. This one is just, forks are different, or they're separate, as you can see right here a little bit. So all of this doesn't move. This one has a lot more like storage space there, here, and he added this little like touring pack on here. This is actually like aftermarket. He didn't buy it from Harley or anything. I was very surprised that it came basically already color matched and everything. This does have Reinhardt exhaust, and we'll get to a little bit of a startup like we normally do. Now this does have a 114 cubic inch motor. It's overhead valve push rod, 6-speed, obviously belt driven. I think everything pretty much comes 6-speed nowadays. It is a 64-inch wheelbase. Surprisingly, my mom's bike, the Street Glide, seems to be a lot heavier than this. I'm not sure what the weight was, but this is 820 pounds with a 6-gallon fuel tank. Seat height is 27.4, and I'll do a little sit down and you'll get to see kind of how it is. Now these do have more of like, I guess you would say, forward controls. As you can see, like I'm moving this, the fairing's not moving. But your seating position is really not too bad. This is a very comfortable bike. It does have the little highway pegs right there and whatnot, but the bike isn't super duper heavy. I mean, it's a Harley, so they are gonna be decent heavy, but I'm 5'11" and I'm flat-footed, so it's not super terrible. Getting on and off is good. The ride quality is pretty good, but yeah, there's really not much I can say. We'll do a little startup here, and then we will do the riding portion. So let's get to it. Alright guys, this is the review section, and this is a voiceover because for some reason I thought this mic would work, but it does not. Once it starts going, the wind gets too much and you can't hear my voice whatsoever. So I'm just doing a voiceover here and just gonna probably provide a little bit of information and whatnot as we go on. Now this is a very good riding bike, and I will go into kind of more detail as we go on. I'm probably going to talk about some stuff here and there while we're riding, but I'm going to try and leave at least some of the audio of the video. You just probably won't hear my voice, but I feel like it would kind of help with the ambiance to have the exhaust of the motorcycle going. That way you can also hear what it's like in the... You can kind of hear what the motorcycle sounds like as we're riding along. In future videos, I probably will not do a voiceover like this. Hopefully, I'm going to attempt to try my other mic and see how that is, as I was this is just a new wireless mic. I didn't do too much research in seeing how I would do on a motovlog style video, but I do have my handy purple panda, so I will try to use that the next video. One thing I did not mention earlier, that this does have aftermarket handlebars. They set up a little bit higher than normal Harley Davidson handlebars, like the Street Glide that I rode. Sits down a little bit further, closer to the fairing. I kind of prefer these, except for whenever you're doing low speed maneuvers, you kind of have to reach super far, and that is the only downside to it. I think if you tilt the handlebars back just a little bit towards you, that might solve that issue, but it is a very minimal issue overall. As far as the ride quality, I really like the way they sit. Your hands are super comfortable. I'm not sure if these have heated grips. I didn't mention it before because I didn't know, but the Street Glide that I reviewed previously did have heated grips, and that is a game changer if you've never done it before. But in my Street Glide video, I might have said something about the windshield being a little too short, and it causes some buffeting on the head, and gave me a bit of headache around 30-45 minutes into the ride. But this windshield and all the little deflectors, as you'll see down by my feet or legs in a little bit, you can see me moving my hands as I was talking, but this windshield works a lot better than the one on the Street Glide, as the air goes over my head, and I did not feel anything. And this was a pretty windy day. I kind of get blown a little bit, not all over the road, but movement a little bit side to side. But for the most part, the wind was not an issue, and this was a super comfortable ride. I would say this bike probably rivals the Honda CB360, and even though that it's way older, both of these bikes are very close in comfortability of the way they take bumps. They ride almost like a Cadillac, but for the price that you're going to pay for a Harley, I would imagine so. You're probably paying $30, sometimes $40,000 for a touring bike of this stature, and I feel like if you're going to pay that much, you expect the bike to ride really well, take bumps really well. Comparative to the Street Glide, I felt like the Street Glide was a little more stiff. I don't know if it was just the seat on this bike, but the seat was super comfortable. It was a single seater. I think normally these bikes are two seaters, but it was just one. It felt super comfortable. I'm not quite sure what the brand is. I'll put it up on the video once I figure that out. But it is a super nice seat. It took the curves really well here. As with most Harleys, I'm used to riding some street bikes, so I don't lean too far into it, as I don't want to low side the bike in any way. But it was very smooth taking these curves here, and the power felt really good. For the most part, the gearing on this bike was relatively perfect. At 5th gear, you could cruise at around 60. You could kick it up to 6th and have like a nice cruising speed at a lower RPM, but to me 5th felt perfect. And as I was cruising around 60, 65 the entire time, and you kind of really don't feel it. It feels like you're going a lot slower, just because most of the time when you're going 60, 65, you expect the wind to be blasting you everywhere, and with this bike it really wasn't. So I think if you're looking for a long distance touring bike, this would be a really good one. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a fixed fairing bike, so the handlebars don't turn with the fairing doesn't turn with the handlebars, and I think that is a big factor into why the wind really doesn't affect you. As I showed you just a second ago, the little deflectors for the wind. And the Reinhardt exhaust does a good job of not being overly loud, but whenever you roll on the throttle pretty hard, you can hear the exhaust. But as you're riding kind of like at the 3,000 to 5,000 RPM, you really don't get blasted by the drone and overpowered exhaust as you would with some of the other Harley exhausts, where they're just super loud and super, to me, a little annoying. Or if I want to just ride for an hour or hour and a half, you're not going to have a headache by the end of it. As here I show some of the navigation stuff, if I can work through it. There we go. I do like the navigation on these bikes, and with them being a little bit newer, you get a little bit better of a infotainment and navigation system, whereas the old, I believe, like early 2010s bike that I reviewed on my channel, it was a little bit outdated and was a little clunky, which I feel like the updated system is a little bit better. if we approach the stop sign, I'm going to turn here and I'm going to give it a little bit of throttle and run through the gears and just see how it is with the torque and pick up and go. We can see what the power of this 114 cubic inch motor is going to be. We did a little pull there. It was very smooth throughout all the gears. There's really never anywhere I felt like I was gonna run out of gear or anything. Went through everything. I think we got to about 90-ish there before we slowed down. Torque felt really good. It really didn't like. The whole bike felt smooth. It didn't feel like you were gonna slide off the seat or anything. We had to slow down. The brakes worked really well. One thing I did feel, I don't know if this was just placebo or anything, I felt like this bike was a little bit lighter and a little bit easier to control and maneuver around than the Street Glide. I'm not sure if they were much different in weight, as this one was, I think, 820 pounds. And I'm not quite sure what the Street Glide is, but it felt really smooth. That's just the kind of key word for this bike, in my opinion, is just a smooth ride all around. As we come to this section, I will be hitting some bumps here. I wanted to see, I knew this road was pretty bumpy, so I just wanted to see what it would feel like taking some harsher bumps. Right here, I think right there, I hit a big bump, and that was about the only one that like jarred my back a little bit, maybe come up off the seat a little bit. Obviously, with the bump that big, you can just move, but I wanted to see how the bike would take it. And that was the only one that I really like hit, and I could feel it. Every other bump it took like a champ and really didn't have any issue with. So obviously if you see any like huge bumps like this and you are interested to see how, if you have back problems or anything, this bike is a very, very smooth bike when it comes to taking bumps and whatnot. I really didn't have any other issues besides that one, but obviously you can dodge some stuff like that if you know how bad it is. And as we come up here, I decided to try a new little route where I'm going to take the interstate to kind of give you a brief kind of opinion on what it's like to ride one of these bikes on the interstate if you have one of those on a commute. One thing I always am a little weary about with these bikes is uphill starts, and there was one right there. Bikes being super heavy, not super heavy, but bikes being around the 800 mark, it takes a little bit of getting used to, just trying to keep the weight there and make sure you don't roll back too far into another car and work in the clutch. The only kind of thing that I would say I felt a little weird about on this bike was the throttle response was a little sluggish in the initial rolling on throttle. That is also just me comparing it to my personal bike, and the throttle response is a lot better on that bike. We're waiting for traffic here. I need to fix my camera angle, move it up a bit. I feel like you don't see much here, but waiting on a car in front of me, otherwise I would have given a little bit up the speed. Here we are, merging on to the interstate. As I stated earlier, this is a pretty windy day. It was a more windy day than normally is. So the crosswind was a little bad once I kind of got out of all the trees, but like right there, I think we were cruising at around 85 on the interstate. That truck didn't bother me. Super smooth bike, super stable. There was a couple times where the wind kind of blew me once we got out of the tree area, but other than that, this was a super smooth ride. With how bumpy that this interstate is where I am, it's took everything perfectly fine. Didn't really want to move one way or another. With some of the other bikes that I've ridden on the interstate, they kind of, if you hit a bump a bad way, it'll move one way or the other. And I can navigate traffic pretty well with the power that the 114 cubic inch motor puts out. You can get around traffic if need be, and you have plenty of gearing to just sit back and cruise. I didn't test the cruise control or anything on this because I didn't have that far of a drive on the interstate. But this bike does have cruise control if you wish to do that. I think that if you have maybe like a 15-20 minute commute and want to ride a motorcycle to work and have the extra capital to get a Harley, and you're just wondering what the touring bike market might be, I kind of would prefer the Road Glide. I haven't really rode any of the other Harleys, hoping to do more this year. As far as I've ridden, it's just been the Street Glides and then this one Road Glide, and I much prefer the Road Glide over the Street Glide. Once we got here is when the wind kind of got a little bad on the crosswind side and would blow me like a little bit, not too bad, but as far as wind coming at me, it was perfectly fine. Also going to move my camera. I had to turn it downward because for some reason the camera won't turn up all the way when I have it the other way, and it affects me from looking, so I need to fix that. But with that being said, that'll be the end of the riding portion. I'm going to kind of cut it here because I don't stay where I pull into. So I'll cut it to the sit down review portion and review my thoughts. So we'll see you there. This is the review portion of the video, a little bit different scenery. But yes, I think if you were in the mood or in the market for a touring bike, I really recommend the Road Glide. I really like the fixed fairing. It's not as heavy the turning because you don't have everything turning with you. You got more storage up here than the Street Glide. The suspension and everything is kind of done everything that I would want in a touring bike. It takes all the bumps really well. We hit one that you probably dodged, but that was the only one that I hit and I was a little jarred. But overall, everything, it kind of checked all the boxes. We rode for 30 minutes, and that's usually whenever I start to feel like any discomfort in the bikes that I've ridden. I think the Harley 48, my back started hurting a little bit after the 30-minute mark. The Street Glide, the wind hitting my helmet was starting to give me a little bit of a headache. But this one, I can't really say there was any downsides, except for probably the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is the price of them. At least around me, I looked on Facebook Marketplace, which is a good spot to look for just what the market's going to be, and you're probably not going to get one for under 15. It seems to be 15,000, about 24 was the highest, and that's kind of the biggest thing that kills me on these bikes is they're just so expensive. I feel like if you can find one for 12, maybe a little bit higher up in miles, but this one I honestly love. It looks great. It rides really great. The seat feels good. There's a lot of storage in here, and you can always change out like these touring packs for bigger ones. Yeah, it's really not a big downside besides maybe the Harley reliability that I hear people talk about. My family really hasn't experienced anything like that besides dead batteries from them not riding them. But I think overall, if you were looking for a touring bike and kind of want the Harley, and you're trying to decide between the Road Glide or Street Glide, to me the Road Glide is better. I really didn't feel any discomfort on the interstate. It handled like a dream. Like I said earlier, this bike is about the only one that's been able to rival the CB360 as far as comfortability and taking bumps and just riding like a Cadillac essentially. So yeah, if you're looking for a touring bike, like I said, recommend this one. Overall, I'd probably give it about a B. I feel like if this bike, if you could find a nice one for like the 10 to 12 range, that's probably a great deal. But the price is just what kills it. But yeah, 2020 Harley Davidson Road Glide. I'm gonna give it a B overall. And yeah, remember to like, subscribe, comment down below what you would like to see, what bikes would you like to see on the channel. I'll see if I can't do it. Glad to be back. Thank you everyone for watching. Remember that you are good enough. See you guys next time.